After 9.5 months off, the Knicks hit the court for the regular season opener Wednesday against the Pacers. It's the beginning of the Tom Thibodeau era. Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickley hope to make an impact, and RJ Barrett looks to lead the young core. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our exclusive Knicks season preview right here on the MSG Networks YouTube channel. And a reminder to subscribe to get great Knicks content all season long. Bill Pidto, Alan Hahn, Wally Szczerbiak, boys. Are we ready? Wally, we ready to roll or what?
Can't wait, baby. 3-1 in the preseason. We got good vibes. We got a tremendous point guard in Emmanuel Quickley, who lit up the preseason in his last two games, really played well. Kevin Knox has been a flamethrower, knocking down threes all over the place. Julius Randle came into camp in shape, has been leading the team, playing great. RJ Barrett making that step. Looking forward to the season starting, the real thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, 9 months since we've seen Knicks basketball. We did get some preseason games, of course, but it's the real thing now, and it's been way too long. It's been too long since we've all been in the same studio together, too. But, the idea that we can now watch the Knicks, the bubble happened without them. We felt left out. We're back in it, and it's a new season. So, of course, there's always new hope in a new season.
And guys, I think a lot of the hope right now surrounds Immanuel Quickley as maybe, Alan, the point guard that the Knicks have lacked for years. Now, it's early, right? One quarter in the second to last game against Cleveland, and basically the whole game in the second game against Cleveland. At what point does the team know if he is legitimate or not?
I think we know. I think you just can see it. All you have to do is pay attention to what Tom Thibodeau has been saying about him, even before we saw him play in a preseason game. Because I think the three of us know him pretty well. We've all either covered him or worked with him over the last couple of years. We've seen him around the league, interviewed him. He doesn't deal in hyperbole. Like, this isn't a guy that's like, oh, this guy's great and this guy's great. No, he's pretty plain speaking about players. So when he says he's got already the ability to be one of the best shooters in the game, and then he says in practice when he puts it up, we all think it's going in. Like this, you're talking about a rookie that was taken, that's the second first-round pick, not their number one pick at the very top in the lottery. So when you hear him say stuff like that about Quickley, you can see already, and he talks about how he's always watching film, he's a gym rat, like all those things. That seems to appeal to a guy like Tibbs. So when I hear that stuff, that tells me I should start believing in this guy as a future piece for this team. How soon, though, they make him a starter, that's a big question.
That is definitely the big question, Alan. It really is, because Tom Thibodeau, also the way he runs his ship and the way he coaches his teams, is you're going to earn every single thing you get, and especially in this league. And this is a coach that's been around for a long time, and he wants you to really establish that if you are going to be the starter, one, you're going to earn to be the starter, and two, when you are the starter, you're going to be successful as the starter. And at times, we've heard that Thibs kind of, prefers to, go with the veterans and, likes to, play the guys who gives him the best chance to win. If Emmanuel Quickley starts on opening night, that would resonate with me tremendously.
Wally, would you start him? Would you start him?
I wouldn't. I would not. I just think he's right there. He's knocking on the door. He played tremendous in the first two preseason games, but it's a lot to ask, in my opinion. Now, I'm not watching every single practice. If this guy is dominating practices the way he dominated the last two preseason games, and I feel like he's ready to possibly maybe not have a great game because he's had two great games, and then he'll bounce back after, a tough game against Philadelphia, against Milwaukee. I mean, this schedule's coming quick, and it's a different level of play when you're going up against, some teams that were in the playoffs last year in the East, as opposed to the Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons. So you kind of got to, just go into things very, cautiously, especially with rookies. And that's always how Tom Thibodeau is coached. But at the same time, he's singing his praises. What we're seeing out there on the basketball floor gives me no doubt in my mind that eventually he will be the starting point guard for the Knicks. I don't know how soon it will be, but he looks like he has starting point guard abilities and talent in this league with the way he played in his first preseason.
So, Alan, what are we thinking? Payton, to start Barrett, Robinson or Noel, Randall, and Bullock perhaps, or Burks. Probably Bullock.
Oh, Bill, wait a second. Who's your starting five? I want to know who you think is going to be at
Lay
the
it out.
ball circle.
I'm going with
7 o'clock, 7:09 on Wednesday, December 23rd. Who you got?
Here's what I think the starting five is going to be.
Okay.
Peyton, Barrett, Bullock, Randall, and I think he's going to start Noel because when you play off the bench, Toppin with Robinson, Knox, Quickley, and Barrett, that was their best five. So I think Mitch's going to come off the bench.
I like it. What do you got, Wally?
I have the same thing. I think it's going to be Peyton, Barrett at the 3, maybe Bullock at the 2. Those are very interchangeable, but I think Bullock played very, very well in the last game. And the fact that he shot the ball well and brings a little bit more size to protect RJ Barrett so he doesn't have to guard, some of those really strong physical wing guys at the 3 position. I think he's the guy that you start at the 3 and then bring Burks off the bench as a flamethrower and a shooter. Then I go with I think they're going to start Mitch. I really do. I think Mitch played his butt off in the last 2 preseason games. I think his Nerlens is great and Nerlens is solid, but you know what Nerlens brings to the table. Mitch brings a different level. He's just like Nerlens Noel with an upside that's very high. So the way he played those last 2 preseason games was impressive. I would go with Mitch, and Julius Randle has just been a pro coming into camp completely in shape. He's poised for another 2010 season, handling the ball well, not turning the ball over. I can't sing Julius Randle's praises enough for how professional he's been and how well he played in the preseason.
He led them in assists, by the way, in the preseason. So talk about a guy that's trying to be more of a facilitator and less of a spin dribble into a double team, which we all drives everybody crazy when you see that. It does look like he's trying to fit in with the obvious too. I mean, you got to think about it. Him, Elfrid, they're in these uncomfortable places, aren't they? Because they know the fans don't want to see us. The fans want to see the kids. That's what they want to see. So there's in the back of their mind.
That is not true, Hahn. The fans want to see 3-1 start. And the guys that give them a chance to go 3-1 against the teams that they're playing against are Randall and Peyton.
They know it, but they also know that they've got roles to play as leaders, as stabilizers. And that's one thing Randall can be, a scorer, a stabilizer. And that's where I was getting. I was saying you still need guys like this, however, and that's what makes him valuable right now. And, of course, we'll see how valuable he is a little bit later on in the season when we get to a trade deadline, if you do get to a point like that. But with all that in mind, I agree with you on the starting lineup, except for one. I do think Burks will start, only because everything he did was kind of low-key in the flow, but it didn't really have to stand out.
But Bullock was really good the other night, Alan.
Bullock did not shoot the 3 very well in the preseason. That concerned me.
The last game
he did shoot it well in that last game. I'm just saying that part concerned me. Now we'll see. You're right, because you do need a guy that can shoot those 3s, that can open up the floor. No doubt about it. I just feel like with the younger group, he might be a better fit there because he can do it. Now, those 2 are interchangeable. We know this. But when it comes to Robinson, 100% agree with you, Wally. I actually think the message was sent. They started Nerlens early on, and it's almost like Mitch got a little annoyed about it. Wait, this is my spot. Well, you got to earn it. And he did. You're right. Once he got the opportunity, he got in there, and he just went after it. And you love it. Now, he averaged 5 fouls per 36 in the preseason, but I don't care about that because everything else was there. The rebound, the defense, the talking. Did you see how active he was in communication? That's big. And I think that's all the influence of a guy like Tom Thibodeau, who looks at him as that's exactly what I need for my defense. A guy like that in the back, we just got to get him right. We got to get him coming in every day, ready to work, ready to compete, and get himself in the elite shape he needs to be in. And I think they got to him. And that's what I want to see now. If he starts opening night, does that fire stay lit? Because a guy like him, as we know, could make the difference for this team. Because defense has got to get better than last year. We know that. It's obvious. And with the coach and the coaching staff they have, you think it could and it should. And if they are that team, anything can happen.
Guys, looked like RJ Barrett is poised to take the next step. About 18 points per game in the preseason, almost 90% Wally from the line, and just over 50% overall from the floor. Look really good, really consistent, and really efficient.
Mark my words, RJ Barrett's going to average over 20 points a game this year.
Wow.
He has come in completely motivated this season to take that next step. The fact that he got snubbed off the first and second team all-rookie last year, he was not happy, and I don't blame him. I really don't. And, hey, you had some ups and downs. You had an injury that kind of set you back a little bit in the ankle injury last year. That's what true pros and competitors do. They use that as fuel. They use that as motivation to not just whine and cry about it, to say, yeah, it affected me, and I'm going to show you that everyone you were wrong. And that's what he did in the preseason. And that's what he's motivated to do in this regular season. And I can't wait to see what he's going to bring, because his physical maturation has been tremendous. You know, he's going to make his free throws. He's going to be a 75% free throw shooter for his career. Mark my words. He just is too good of an athlete. You know, he just had a rough kind of, rookie season where he just got into a little bit of a rut. It started to get into his head, kind of like those 3-footers that I start to miss on the golf course, and then it just starts to snowball.
The yips.
He's going to be fine, and I can't wait to see his development this year because he looks ready to go. And now you put him in a system like a very well-coached Tom Thibodeau system with tremendous assistants, with tremendous player development coaches, and his game is just going to elevate. His game is just going to thrive. His confidence level, when you know you have a coaching staff that is preparing you on a daily basis to win basketball games, I just think this is going to be a huge year for him if he stays healthy, which I think he will, because he's really put in the time in the offseason to get his body right. I'm excited for his progression this season.
You think he averages close to 40 minutes a game too? 38 maybe? Like, do you think he's going to be the guy that Tom wants out there as much as possible because, A, he's young enough to do it, but B, he is, he's a very effective player getting to the basket, drawing fouls, doing a lot of the things, the little things that a lot of people don't notice. I think he's a lot better defensively than most people want to give him credit for. Positionally, he'll learn too as they continue to coach him. But Wally, don't you see RJ as the guy that Tibbs has out there constantly?
Yeah, and what I love about Tibbs, and I remember I had coaches like this, and as a player, you want to make it. I wanted to play 48 minutes every single game, honestly. I wanted to win. I wanted to play. I hated sitting on the bench for those 10 minutes that I had to sit on the bench, 5 in the first half, 5 in the second half, just to get a little bit of rest. I absolutely hated it. So as a player, you're motivated to be out there as much as possible. He's going to make Tibbs' job hard to take him out of the game. And that's what great players do. They make their coach say, oh, man, I got to go without this guy on the floor for 5 minutes in the first half. Let's figure out a way to just bridge the gap and get them back out on the floor. That's how it's going to be. What I'm very encouraged, though, about, and you alluded to this too also, Bill, just to get off a little bit, our second unit can be elite, absolutely elite. And we saw it in years past with teams like the Celtics with Brad Stevens. They just wear you down with their depth. And with a second unit of Emmanuel Quickley at the point, who is completely the table setter, and we saw it in the last 2 preseason games, Knox, possibly Nerlens Noel or Mitchell Robinson, Obi Toppin, and Alec Burks, that is an elite second unit. And that is a team, when they're on the floor, they can build the chemistry like they built in the last 2 preseason games with Emmanuel Quickley running the show. They can make a lot of hay. And if that's the case, therefore, Tom Thibodeau will be okay giving RJ Barrett, giving Julius Randle the rest that they possibly need long-term throughout the season. But if the second unit doesn't bring it, Tom Thibodeau is the type of coach that says, guys, you're out. You're out. RJ, Randle, Peyton, back in. Let's go. Come on, we got a game. We got games to win.
Yeah. That's what we're doing with the post-game crew here if we don't bring it on night 1, just so you guys know.
Oh, really?
I've already been
Bill, where's the rowing machine, Bill? Where are you hiding the rowing machine? Let's go.
All right. Over-under has been set by Vegas. We know what that number is. Overall, Alan, what do you think in terms of your overall outlook? I am more optimistic based on the potential here for this young roster than a lot of the, quote, experts. That's where I'm coming into this.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest that I always try to always compare things to history. And the first thing that came to mind, I was watching this group as the preseason was going on, was I thought of Rick Pitino's first year, 87, 88, young team, Ewing, Mark Jackson's a rookie. That team, he wanted them playing fast. He wanted them getting turnovers. They had to play that way. And they started out that season, they were getting their heads kicked in. And people were saying to even Pitino, like, you can't play that way in the NBA. You can't win that way. And this team just isn't good enough. Jackson emerges. Ewing obviously gets unlocked and becomes an absolute beast. And by the end of that season, it started to show. And you started to say, they got something here. The following year, they win 50 games, make the playoffs. So I feel like that's kind of where we are. That I don't think I have great expectations that, getting out of the gate like 8-2 or something like that. But I think the idea is to keep trending and keep seeing, like, as we saw in the preseason, little things that tell you this is going somewhere. Just give it time. It's going somewhere. So I feel like that's my outlook. My outlook is, and I said this last year and it didn't happen, but I feel it more this year, that as they get into the second half of the schedule, we haven't seen yet, I just feel like this could be a group that you really say to yourself, they've got something here, and now you know where they're headed towards the end of the season, and we'll see if it's good enough to compete. Because remember, there's that 7-10 play-in now for the postseason. So really, you're just trying to stay somewhere around that 10 spot to have a shot by the end of the season, make the playoffs.
Wally, what do you think?
I think they're going over the over-under. I think in Tibbs we trust. This guy knows how to win basketball games. He's got the 11th best winning percentage of all time in the NBA as a head coach. He's got a 59% winning percentage. And I know players win basketball games in the NBA. That's the old adage. But he also knows how to tip the scales and help players win games in the NBA. So I think it's going to be an exciting season. I agree. I think the beginning of the year is going to be tough. The schedule is very difficult. And you have a lot of new faces. You have a lot of young faces that it's going to take them a little bit of time to kind of find their way in the NBA and figure out, how to make an impact in this league on this team. But once they do, I'm very encouraged with what I saw in the preseason. I came from teams, Flip Saunders, Mike Brown, Flip Saunders, we went 8-0 in the preseason every single year. I mean, he was not messing around. And then every season we started a season 30-6 one year. And we just blew teams away because we were ready to start the season. And that sets a tone for the year. It really does. So I love the way Tom Thibodeau is not messing around in this preseason. He wants to get the taste of winning. I tell you all the time, Bill and Alan, never feel bad for winning. It was a tremendous preseason to feel good about yourself, to get your confidence up a little bit. And let's see what happens. But I think they're definitely going over the over. I think they're going to win 25 to 30 games, and they're going to be fighting for that 7 to 10 seed.
All right, boys. It's great to be back with you. Can't wait for opening night. Thank you all for checking us out here. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel here, MSG Networks on YouTube, for great Knicks content all season long. Go Knicks. We'll see you on Wednesday night.